Not too long ago, UFO experiencer Chris Bledsoe went on the Shawn Ryan podcast and made a statement that went semi-viral in the UFO community. And I covered it on the channel many times. I'll put links in the description. It's basically when Chris stated that in Easter 2026, the return of Christ would happen. That's right, Jesus Christ. At least that's the way it was shown. At least that's the way it was edited, right? Now, there's a story coming out that that's not what Chris Bledsoe said. In fact, the claim being made is that it was edited together in such a way that it seemed like Chris said that, right? And allegedly, the editor for Shawn Ryan, who edited that episode of Chris Bledsoe, was fired within 24 hours. Now, these are the claims being made. We're going to dive into this and see what we can make of it. I'm also going to show the original clip, right, of what exactly was actually said. So first, let's listen to the claims being made by a friend of Chris Bledsoe, okay, Science Bob McGuire. And this is a post from Red Panda Koala Online, who pointed this out. And I've had Science Bob on before to the channel and covered him before. And he is going to make the claim here, right? So it's not from Chris Bledsoe himself directly. We'll get into that more in just a second, but let's listen to the claim. Let's just, dive into this.
Chris and Shawn recorded session. And of course, as usual, it lasted for hours, but it took months for it to come out. And Chris was really getting frustrated because he didn't think it was going to come out, and he was not being told the reasons. He had no understanding for what was going on. Finally, we rejoice. It's going to come out. I called Chris and I says, well, yeah, it was pretty good. I says, there are a couple of rough spots. And he says, Bob, I am so angry. I can't begin to figure out how to console myself. And I says, what is going on, Chris? He said, they edited the video very carefully. And there's one rough section when they put together separate pieces and made it into something I never said. And I'll leave it up to you if you want to what it was. But what was going on, what Chris said was coming in 2026 was apocalypse, which means a new learning and a new meaning. He never said what came next. He said, I hope Christ comes soon, in a separate sentence.
What's going to happen, I don't know. But I think it's possible that's the return of
Christ.
Yeah. Or the lady and the whole heavenly host living with us, Jesus. That's the first time I've ever said that in my life, publicly.
And I could tell you the following is a fact. The editor was fired within 24 hours. That's number one. So there's one thing Chris is pretty aware of, and it's major things in the Bible. He is certainly aware of. No one knows when Jesus is coming again, including Jesus. He never said that. And I'm telling you, it was edited to make it look like that. I have not seen, in the entire time I have known Chris, the entire time, I have never seen him.
So before I give my thoughts on all of this, let me play the actual clip from Shawn Ryan again so you can see exactly the part where they're claiming it was edited together, right? Let's take a closer look at it. All right, so this is a little over 2-minute clip of the part where they're saying this got edited. All right. And again, I've covered this on the channel. And the claim is big, right? The claim is very big. So this is a big deal if it's true. But let's play a little bit before the actual part to give a little context. And I'm just going to, react to it with you right here until we get to the part where they say it's edited in a particular way, right?
Exact alignment will happen in 2026 at Easter.
What will happen?
the star will, the alignment she told me about, that the star of Regulus would be on the horizon in front of the Sphinx. At that moment, there'd be a new knowledge. Well, I had no idea if this was even possible, but these astronomers run it through the machines, and it comes out that that star is going to come up on the horizon in Easter of 2026. And from that point forward, they started remote viewing the state. Government did. And now you hear it all over TV. 2026, that's the big date. 2027, that year, something's going to happen. Armageddon, you hear it all over. You hear it on TV. If you study, like I've heard even, well, I won't say names, but
Please do.
well, Lou Elizondo, right? Lou's mentioned that date. A lot of people have.
So see, we're almost to the part here. This is part of it, though, right? That's the thing. He's saying that he never, the claim he's making isn't what Shawn Ryan edited it to be, right? So is this part also, because as you're about to see, this is edited in the same style. So is this part what Chris Bledsoe meant to say, right? I mean, he's essentially making this huge prediction about Easter 2026. Right? That's it. That's the gist of it. He's making a huge prediction about Easter 2026, and it's what is going to happen on Easter 2026 that is up for debate, right? So Chris isn't debating that he's made that prediction for 2026. In fact, he's saying there's other people that, agree with him. Hey, Lou Elizondo, the government has looked into it. They've remote viewed the year 2026, 2027. Well, first of all, those are two different years. So to try to combine is, straight, you know what I mean? But it's the part about what is going to happen on Easter 2026, right? That is really the big thing, right? Chris is saying this sort of a star alignment is going to happen with the Sphinx, and which people have kind of looked that up, and the star he's talking about doesn't come around on Easter 2026. So that's that alignment's not going to happen. But I guess maybe that's the prediction. It's not supposed to happen. So if it does, that would add a lot of credence, right? But so let's get to the part here where Chris is saying that it was edited. But pay attention to how this is edited, right? We'll talk about this.
Easter 2026.
Well, the year 2026. I gave him the specific time. And it was with Robert Grant that I told him about this alignment and all. And then he's like, oh my God. He's been looking for this ruby, this little ruby you have to find and place it between the paws of the Sphinx to make this event that he knows is going to happen in 2026. I said, Robert,
Like straight
it's
out of
not
Indiana
a ruby,
Jones.
it's the Star of Regulus. He looks like, he's like, oh my God, it's the King Star. So what's going to happen, I don't know.
Right
but
here.
I think it's possible that's the return of
Christ.
Yeah.
Right there.
Or the lady and the whole heavenly host living with us, Jesus. That's the first time I've ever said that in my life, publicly. You're the first.
You're the first.
Exact
First time he's
alignment
ever
will
said it, right? So that's kind of a key to it. It's the first time he's ever said it, but did he say it? So let's go back. If you notice, it cuts between different cameras. So they have a wide camera. They've got medium close-ups of each person, right? Shawn Ryan and Chris Bledsoe, and they're essentially cutting between those three angles. But the whole interview is cut like that. Like a lot of podcasts, like a lot of shows, right? But he's saying this part in particular where he says it'll be the return of, pause, cuts to Shawn Ryan saying the end of the sentence, Christ, and then cuts back to Chris Bledsoe saying, yeah, right? So the words Christ don't come out of Chris Bledsoe's mouth in that, right? But he does say the return of, right?
That's the return of
Christ.
Yeah.
See that? The return of Christ. Yeah. That's what they're saying was misedited, right? That's the claim from science. Bob McGuire, who is a friend of Chris Bledsoe. He's saying the editor was fired within 24 hours of the release of this. All right, and it is true that they filmed this, I think, back in September 2024, and it didn't come out until January 2025. Could have been even February, the beginning of February. But let's watch that one more time here. See what y'all think.
That's the return of
Christ.
Yeah.
See, quick cut. It's like Shawn cuts that off, right? There's one way to solve this from Shawn Ryan, if this is true. You just release the clip of the wide shot of that, right? So they have a wide shot where they're both in frame, and you just get the, you know what I mean? The back and forth between them. That's easily solvable. That's a 15-second clip you release if it wasn't edited improperly, right? So one last time.
What's going to happen, I don't know. But I think it's possible that's the return of
Christ.
Yeah. Or the lady and the whole heavenly host living with us, Jesus. That's the first time I've ever said that.
And then he said it's the first time he's ever said that publicly. And he, you know, and I said it to you, Shawn, you know, but it's more like the return of what? What if it's not that? Chris is saying that Easter 2026 is going to be the return of something. And the return means it's something that's already been here, right? It's not like a new thing, right? The return of what? And so let's get back to let's just talk about this now, right? We've seen that. So here's my problem with it all. Chris Bledsoe isn't the one coming out and saying that this isn't true. Not publicly, anyway. He's allegedly told his friend, Science Bob, who was going out and saying this. So what we need from this whole situation is, first we need Chris Bledsoe to make a public statement and say that that this was edited improperly and that he didn't say that, right? Because it's coming from another source, which Chris Bledsoe could easily make statements. He makes statements. He posts videos. He goes on podcasts. He clearly can come out and just say this himself, right? And from Shawn Ryan's perspective, right, come out and either confirm that editor was fired, because I don't know where Science Bob got that information, right, that he's claiming. So they can either confirm or deny that and then give the reason why that person was fired if they were. And then again, all you have to do is release the wide shot of them sitting together and that exchange. And if it lines up, then it lines up, right? Then it wasn't improperly edited. But if it's different and Chris Bledsoe didn't say that, then yeah, that's a big deal. You know, one thing is to edit to take things out, which is why you shoot from different angles like that. So you can time jump. You can take whole sections out if you want. But another thing is to edit it to make people say things they didn't say, right? One thing is to edit out things they said, right? In the sense that whole chunks or whatever, different parts of the interview you don't want, or they cough or something, right? And you try to get around that. Like, those things are acceptable. But what's not acceptable is making someone say something they didn't say, right? So if that's true, that is a big deal, because that's a huge claim. And again, I've made videos about it. A lot of people have, right? That's what Chris Bledsoe said, because that's how the final cut comes out. So again, we just need Chris Bledsoe to make his own statement, that's what he actually thinks. Because again, it's just coming from Bob. So no offense to Bob, but Chris is going to need to come out to say that. Otherwise, it's just hearsay, right? And if Chris Bledsoe does come out and say that, Shawn Ryan should address it one way or the other, right? Because that's the guest that went on your show, right? So, but at this point, I get why Shawn Ryan wouldn't address it, because Chris isn't saying it. It's Science Bob in a Twitter space, right? So I don't know. Let me know what you guys think in the comments. Could that be edited? Yeah, because of the way it is. They didn't cut to the wide shot of that being said. But again, that's how they edit the whole interview. They're using the medium close-ups. You know what I mean? So you wouldn't think, if it's a real thing that Chris said, you wouldn't think to make sure I get this in wide so people don't think I edited this together. Because, you know what I mean? There's no malintent in your mind as an editor. But if you did, you know, smudge some stuff and they did fire the editor, you know, again, should be addressed. So let me know what you guys think in the comments. I'll put links down below in the description. You can check it out for yourself. We'll see you guys in the next video, vetters. Remember, every day's a gift, y'all. Peace.